Long time no see. Happy Friday, y'all. I didn't think I was going to get to come in the kitchen. I had a light bulb moment. I was like, well, we only got a trickle of water, but Buddy will be home early today to start on the well problem. But I have that tea kettle that Mr. and Miss Scott gifted me, what, a year and a half ago? Well, it's like a electric water tea kettle. Well, I heated it up. I got soapy water. I need to make bread. I promised y'all a bread recipe, and I was like, the stars lined up. We're going to make some bread because we need it for the weekend. So we'll have a loaf. I'll send a loaf home with Grandpa. Life is good. Because I think I had shared a picture, or was it sitting over on the stove? I can't remember now, a week ago. Anyway, quite a few of y'all said, how do you make your bread? And I said, oh, it's stupid simple bread. Y'all remember, I'm not the baker. I do lots of candies, but I'm not the baker, okay? I get by. But with bread, this is easy. Now, I know there's probably 1,000 ways to Sunday to make bread, but this one here is like a no-fail. Truly a no-fail. So, I know you're hearing a noise over here. That's the coffee pot. You know, it's getting late. It's 8:55 in the morning. I should have done this an hour ago, but I was cleaning. So, I'm going to get my coffee. I'm going to drop the camera. Easy peasy. Everyone can do this. And I'm not using bread flour, but I'm going to mock my all-purpose into bread flour. It's just what I found works. It's half the cost. Guys, I bought bread flour one time in my life about 14, 15 years ago, and I swore I'd never do it again. And I played around because there's so many recipes out on the internet, but I perfected what works for us as far as the texture and the lightness of the bread. So I'll make sure I leave Lippy's stupid simple bread recipe in the description and give it a try. I don't think it will disappoint. So, coffee, we got to get the yeast going. The mixer's sitting over there, and yes, I'm going to pick you up and take you over there when we get to that point. So, we're fixing to make 2 standard loaves of bread. One day I'm going to get one of them big ones, but for right now, we're just going to use 2 standard loaf pans. Easy peasy. And this also can make cinnamon rolls. I've made rolls where I'll roll it up, put 3 to a muffin tin, fluff it up at the holidays. Like I said, it's stupid simple. You can do anything with this recipe. The first thing I'm adding is 2 cups of warm water. Now, you don't want hot water. It'll kill your yeast. This is just warm tap water. 2 cups. Here's the yeast that I use. When I open up a jar, I keep it in the freezer. But you can pretty well find this in all the stores now. I used to have to order this a couple of years ago. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon and 1/4 of active yeast. Now, I do stir mine around. Try to get it well mixed. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to get there, okay? Because what you don't want to do is dump all your ingredients and your yeast be flat. Then you've just messed up everything. Okay. My recipe calls for a total of 1/3 cup sugar. I'm actually going to add some, about a tablespoon, and I'm going to allow this to help feed the yeast. That way, it's not confusing when, say, someone says, oh, add a tablespoon of sugar, and then they come back and they tell you add the difference of whatever the amount they use. I found it's best is just 1/3 cup sugar total, and I add a tablespoon to this. Now, 10 minutes. That gives us time to get our flour mixture going. So I'm going to set this to the side and let it bloom. Okay, we're going to work on our dry ingredients, which is our flour. I use a sifter because I want my flour to be fine. And what we're going to use is 5 3/4 cup. Okay? Let me try to get it all in here. Okay, that's 1 cup. Two cups. There's 3 cups right there. Remember, we're going to work with 5 3/4 cup. There's 4 cups. Five cups, and we need 3/4 of a cup. There's our 3/4. Now, we're going to use 1/4 cups cornstarch. Now, this isn't the brand that I have in here. I just use this container. But you're going to use 1/4 cup of cornstarch. That's going to give us our bread flour consistency, okay? Perfect. Now, you don't have to use the cornstarch. So if you don't have any cornstarch, it's going to be 6 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, what I like to do is really mix in the cornstarch with the flour. Y'all take a look. Starting to bubble, so we know our yeast is good. Now that we have it good and mixed, this is when you add your salt. Guys, don't skip on the salt. I'm going to do about a teaspoon and a pinch of salt. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and I am happy with that. It's covered in bubbles. Look at that. So, we know we are good. Remember, we started with 1/3 of a cup of sugar. I scooped, what, a tablespoon out to feed it. Now we're going to add in our sugar. I've got a 1/2 cup of neutral oil. You can use olive oil. This is vegetable oil. I prefer just plain vegetable oil in my bread. We're going to get our dough hook on. And I'm going to add in our flour. And no, you don't have to do it in sections. I'm just going to add it all in at one time. Lock it. We're going to start off on number 1. We just want to get it well and combined. All right, I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to scrape down the sides. Okay? Because you don't want a flour bath. And so I take this extra step just to ensure I don't get a bath. I'm going to lock it, put it back to number 1 for just a second. Now, we may have to do some more flour once we get it to the counter, but we won't know till we see what it does. I want to check it one more time. Oh yeah, I'm good with that. Most all the loose flour has come in. Now, we're going to lock it, and we're going to start on the number 1. Then we're going to move to the number 2. Do not exceed number 2. It will cause your bread to be heavy. And we're going to let it go for 10 minutes. So there's number 1. And here's number 2. Walk away for 10 minutes and drink some coffee. Okay, it's done. It's been 10 minutes. And we're gonna get it out. And I'm gonna show you just what it looks like. It's got a little bit of sticky. And like I said, sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. It really depends on the weather, and it is kind of rainy. So I'm gonna get this out. But you see it's not sticky that is sticking to my hands, okay? That's why I say this is like a no-fail dough. Now you wanna work with a clean surface. Now I'm not gonna be just sprinkling a large amount. It's mainly in my hands because that's all we're gonna need. And then we're just gonna knead it. Okay, you see, it's beautiful dough, okay? So we're just gonna give it a good knead, kind of work it. Now you can make your bread without having a stand mixer, but guys, my hands won't do it no more. See, it was just enough flour for my hands. Oh, this is beautiful. Now I'm just gonna tuck underneath like this. Guys, that is absolutely, look at that, gorgeous. Okay, look at the bottom. Okay, now we're gonna add some olive oil to our bowl. A glug, okay? That's all I did. That's because I'm gonna drop this top down like this, roll it around, flip it back over, and we're gonna let it rise. You really want your dough ball coated in a little oil, okay? We don't want it drying out. And that's all we're gonna do until it doubles in size. So what I like to do is cover it. I'm gonna set it over on the stove. And that's it. I'm gonna go drink my coffee. It's gonna take it about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then when we come back, we're gonna work it a little bit, put it into our loaf pans, and we're gonna let it rise again. But like I said, you saw it was a powdering because I didn't want my bread heavy. And that's where I found when I was learning to make bread many, many years ago. Oh, my daughter, she's 37, so she had to be a year old too. And I learned that you can overdo the flour. So as years went on, that's when I started learning about bread flour, how to make my own. And this recipe is the recipe I use, like I said, for everything. It just doesn't fail on you. So there you go. Go get you some coffee. I'll see you when this doubles in size, and we'll move to the next step. Guys, it couldn't be more simple. Well, y'all, it's been an hour and 45 minutes. So we're ready to punch this dough down, get it in our loaf pans, which I have greased. And we're gonna let them rise again. I'm gonna tell you what though, I don't like mine to be too rounded. So I normally put them in the oven when they get almost level with the rim of your bread pan. And I'll be baking these on 350 for about 25-30 minutes. So now we've got to punch, work it, get in our loaf pans, cover it again. Now I want you to look at this beautiful dough. Isn't it gorgeous? And I'm just going to get it punched down. Look at that olive oil in there. Now we're just going to pull it out. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Now, I am going to work mine. I almost put too much olive oil. I said a glug. Go half a glug, guys. Oh, my gosh, that is gorgeous. It's prettier than last week's. And now you can work your dough however it's comfortable to you. I just tend to kind of bring it around all four sides. Not heavy, but I do like to mash mine down to get any air out. I'm trying to work so y'all can see it in the camera. Oh yeah, I like that. Now I'm gonna cut it in half. And I'll work each half for just a second. Let's put this one over here. I want y'all to see the inside of that. See that? That's why I like to actually roll mine, because it kind of gives it a good layer look, and it also helps to keep those large pockets out. Okay? Now I'm just going to roll it. And I do tuck, see, I'm trying to hold the camera. I do tuck mine in. I pull it from the bottom, and I tuck mine in like this. And then I roll it over, and I normally roll the seams up. It's not necessary, guys, but in my mind, it keeps it from having those big pockets, you know, when you cut into a loaf of bread. All right. I'm going to put this one, because my pans are different size. The two pans I have are different sizes. So I'm going to set this one here because it looked smaller than that one. Okay. Now, let's work with this other one. And it's just this simple. Okay, we're going to go back to that roll. Pull it in. And like I said, it's not necessary, but it works for Lippy. Or at least I tell myself it does. Oh yeah, see how that's, let me pull it some more right here. I don't like gaps in my rolls. Now, that looks really good right there. And I like my loaf to be even. I don't like a fat end. So I do take a little bit extra time to try and even it out. See? And of course, it looks smaller because this is a larger pan. All right. Get it kind of mashed down a little bit because this one had a little dent in it. Okay, all I'm going to do is cover them both again. I'm going to set it to the side. It's getting warm in the kitchen because I'm cooking a pasta sauce. I'm going to make some lasagna only with penne pasta because that's how Mr. Buddy likes his lasagna. And I'm making it up to where we can make some freezer meals. So it's going to be easier for me to grab depending on what day of the week it is and what's happening. So I'm just going to leave those covered. As soon as I see them, it's going to take about an hour. I'll get my oven preheated prior to that. Then I'll bring you back, show you what level rise that I prefer before we put them in the oven. And guys, it's just that simple. And like I said, you can knead it however you're comfortable with. It's just how I tend to always do it. So there it is, stupid simple bread. The small one almost got out of hand. The large one has about 20 minutes left. I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the 350-degree preheated oven. Y'all, I've been working on freezer meals. Buddy's here to turn the water off. Whew, time done got away from me. So, in the oven it goes. "25 minutes and they're out of the oven. You see how this one puffs up around? That's because this pan is actually small. This is a standard pan. So you see the difference? I'm going to let them rest about 5 minutes and then we'll flip them out. And here is a small lasagna. Yes, this is with lasagna noodles, but I was able to get 4 freezer meals using penne pasta. And yes, I always take the end piece. It's my favorite. But I let it rest a good 15 minutes. It's sitting over here. Let me show you Mr. Buddy's slice. He's not the end piece kind of guy. He says, But we cut them thick because we're going to snack with some butter on. But I do have a little bread box that has little slats in it. And what I'll do is I'll get a few pieces cut and wrapped, and the rest of it will just get wrapped and put into the ice box. And when we want bread, I just slice it and I set it up on the counter. Mainly we toast it, but it's sample time, guys, with butter and a fresh cup of coffee. It's just stupid simple. So, I hope you give this a try. Oh my gosh, warm bread and butter? Come on, I need to put some honey on it. But you gotta give it a try. And you ladies who asked for my recipe, there you go. But remember, you do not have to use cornstarch. If you don't have any, about 6 cups of all-purpose. Now remember, it depends on the weather, but 6 cups is usually the rule of thumb. And if you don't want to use sugar, you can, and I'll put that in the description, you can exchange the sugar for 2 tablespoons of honey, preferably raw honey. So you do have options there, but don't leave out the salt. Leave out the salt, it's pas bon. That means no good in French. There's just something about it, guys, so don't leave the salt out. The bread needs it. So I'm gonna take my cup of coffee. I'm gonna take my treat. I am gonna put a little honey on it. And I'm gonna sit down, because right now we have no water in the house, and he is cutting water lines to put the bladder tank in. This will allow me to make it through the rest of the day. Semi-stress-free. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I will see you on the next one.